Day 108. So here they're asking us to compare the parent equation, x squared, to an equation that's made from it. Let's pretend like I don't remember what the rules are regarding the transformations of quadratic functions, meaning what happens whenever I change numbers in that equation. I'm going to go ahead and just plug these both into my calculator, and I'm going to see what happens. So x squared and 1 over 7 x squared. Okay, so my original is my red one, and my new one is my blue one. It looks like my equation, or the 1 over 7, caused it to become wider. I would also call that vertically compressed. The opposite not the opposite. A term that means exactly the same thing would be horizontally stretched. So I'm going to look at my answer choices. We're comparing G to F. So the graph of G is wider than the graph of F. Yes. The graph of G is narrower. No. The graph of G is 1 over 7 units below the graph of F. Well, let me go back and look. It doesn't look like it had any displacement of its actual position. So that's a no. The graph of G is 1 over 7 units above the graph of F. No. So my correct answer is A. Next one. What are the solutions to this? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm trying to get x by itself. So this is going to be those ones where I use my square root function. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. Remembering that anytime I take the square root of something, there's the potential for it to have two solutions. One positive, one negative. Always the same exact number. So I know here that 2 times 2 is 4. And I also know that negative 2 times negative 2 is also positive 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and try and get x by itself. And I have a solution. So I'm going to look through my answers. It looks like they didn't list it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and break this apart. Now I have two actual answers. So I'm going to look. It looks like that matches answer choice A. So here it says a circle has a radius of 5p to the power of 6, q to the power of 3. The area of the circle can be found using this formula. What is the area of the circle in square centimeters? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the information they gave me. And it looks like what happened here is they defined out my r as that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that in. Area equals pi, parentheses, 5p to the power of 6, q to the power of 3 squared. So remember, what this means is it's multiplying times itself. So I could, because this one doesn't have a plus or a minus inside of it with another term inside of the parentheses, I could just go ahead and distribute it, exponent to exponent, or I can make a copy of it and multiply it by itself. I'll do this way because it's easier. Pi 5 squared, p to the power of 12, q to the power of 6. I'm going to reduce that even further. And I have an answer. So, the total cost in dollars to buy uniforms for the players on a basketball team can be found using the function C equals 43.25U plus 595, where U is the number of uniforms bought. If there are at least 12 players, not more than 16 players on the volleyball team, what is the range? Okay, so first of all, let me go ahead and go through this. So I see my equation looks like this. So C is going to be my dependent variable. So in my mind, this is what the equation looks like. And they're asking about range. Okay? There's going to be at least 12, but not more than 16. So I can have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. But that's my domain, what I'm going to plug in for U. So I look at this and I'm like, that can't be correct. Now, here's the other thing. I know that because my domain looks like this, that these are going to be dots because I can't buy half of a uniform. So I automatically know this is a discrete function. Can't have these because those are for continuous functions. So this has got to be my answer. But if I wanted to verify this, what I could do is I could go ahead and plug this equation into my calculator. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it here into my calculator. 43.25x plus 5.95. And it's going to give me some kind of fancy equation, right? So it graphed it. It looks kind of crazy. I'm going to go ahead and hit that, settings, and hit this little icon that looks like a table. And it's going to give me a couple of different values. But I'm going to plug in the ones that I want, the specific ones I want. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I'm going to look back at my answer choices and verify that those are the correct numbers. And they are. Remembering that the other way to do this would be for me to plug in each one of my domains in here and see what the value comes out to be. But I can use my calculator because I already know how to do that. Next one. So here they're asking me to find the perimeter of the hexagon. So first thing I notice, two of these, two of these, two of these. So I'm going to say 2 times 2x minus 1 plus 2 times 3x plus 2 times x plus 7. I'm going to go ahead and distribute 4x minus 2 plus 6x plus 2x plus 14. Now I'm going to start combining like terms. So I'll get all my x's together. I'll get all my constants together. And I have a solution, 12x plus 12. Let's say I wanted to verify that with my calculator. I can type in this original and then see if it comes out whenever I type in my answer to verify they're the same equation. So let's clear up some space. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to start out by saying 2 times 3x plus 2 times 2x minus 1 plus 2 times x plus 7. And then I'm going to verify by typing in my answer, 12x plus 12. And they should be exactly the same. So if I turn off the blue line, you notice it's exactly the same as the purple one. So that is my answer. All right, next one. What is the area of the shaded region? So they only want the area of this. So that means I need to find the area of the larger rectangle and subtract out the area from the middle. So I'm going to say area of the large minus area of the small. How do I find the area of the large? I'm going to multiply here. So 2x plus 3, 5x plus 1 minus x times x plus 1. So I can go ahead and use my box method for this just to keep me aligned. Now I'm going to go ahead and start combining like terms. So I'm going to put my x squareds together, my regular x's together, and of course my constants. And there's my answer. Now, I could go ahead and verify this with my calculator, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I have a graph. I'm going to type in my answer below to ensure that it is exactly the same. And it looks like I made an error typing this in, so I'm going to remove my x squared. And now I'm going to verify that my graphs are exactly the same. So I'm going to turn off the purple one, and it lays exactly over the green one. So I know that my answer is correct. Next one. A rectangular fence encloses a yard that has an area of this feet and a length of that feet. What is the width? So if I remember right, area is length times width. So my width is going to be area divided by length. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that reverse box method. So now I'm going to say, okay, what do I multiply 2x by in order to get 8x squared? Remembering that this guy goes on the inside and this guy goes on the outside. So I'm going to say 4x times 1 is 4x. I'm going to say, what's the difference between negative 14x and 4x? That's going to be negative 18x. Negative 18x times negative 2x times what equals negative 18x? I ask myself, negative 9. Negative 9 times positive 1 is negative 9. I'm going to combine like terms inside again to verify. And it looks like that matches exactly. So I want to go ahead and verify this information in my calculator. I typed in my original equation, which shows up as the black graph, and I typed in my answer, which shows up as the red graph. They overlap exactly, so that means that that has got to be my solution. Same thing again, they want us to divide. So I'm going to put this guy on the inside, this guy on the outside. So I asked myself, what did I multiply 2x by in order to get 6x squared? 3x. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. Then I say, okay, my middle term is negative 7. I'm at negative 15x. What do I have to do to get there? I add 8x. 8x. How did I get from 2x to 8x? I multiplied by positive 4. 4 times negative 5, negative 20. Now I'm going to combine like terms. And I verified that it's the same. So that means that my solution should be this. Let's go ahead and plug those in. To verify that it's exactly the same. So up here, I'm going to type 6x squared minus 7x minus 20, all divided by 2x minus 5. And I'm going to compare that to my answer, 3x plus 4. I'm going to make sure that they overlap exactly, and they do. So that means that is my correct answer. All right, next one. The area of a rectangular living room is this. This room has a width of this. They want me to find length. Again, dividing. So I'm going to go ahead and start setting up my reverse box, putting the bottom part on the outside, writing in the very first term. Had to multiply by 9x, 45. To get from 45 to 33, I had to subtract 12. Here I had to multiply by negative 2. And negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. I'm going to verify. And it looks like that's exactly the same as what happened as the original problem. So now I know that my answer is 9x minus 2. So I want to verify this using my calculator. Let's go ahead and plug this in. So I'm going to go ahead and write my original equation up here. 54x squared plus 33x minus 10, all divided by 6x plus 5. And over here, I'll write the answer that I got. I'm going to turn off the black graph, verify that it overlays exactly with the purple one, and it does. So my answer is correct. Here they want me to simplify the problem. So whenever I see a negative on the outside of the parentheses, that's really like a negative 1. So negative 1 multiplied times everybody in there. Over here, nothing, so nobody's changing. Here, I'm going to distribute out so that way I can get rid of these parentheses and have an easier time combining like terms. Now I can go ahead and I can start combining things that are exactly the same. So I'll start with the x squareds, the regular x's, and the numbers, or constants. And there I have an answer. I want to verify this with my calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug in both of these just like I did with the other ones. So first thing, I'm going to go ahead and type in my original equation. Now I'm going to type in my answer. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit to make sure that the blue completely overlaps the red. And it does. So this answer is correct.